Okay, so last time I spoke about the fourth Naruto Uzumaki Chronicles game, and honestly, if you've seen that, I've had some problems with that, mostly the story, that being the pacing, and how lackluster it is, and then those are the amount of things that will change in the North American version, but then again, I still kind of like the game, but I think it's mostly just due to nostalgia, and that I think I'm a partial fan of Naruto, so there's that. But I can say safely the second game does make up for a lot of the low points that the first game had, and honestly, I think it's a lot better. And I think in the case of the second game, I think you can kind of enjoy it just because of the original story and some other things I'll go over later. And as I said, one of the bigger changes is the story, the fact that it doesn't take like 3 years just to get to it. And I guess now we're going to talk about the story. And frankly, I honestly think it's kind of interesting just because it's an actual it's a what's called it's a OC plot, it's original plot, and frankly I like it because it doesn't tread over the anime like a lot of the Dragon Ball Z games, at least from what I heard. But now I say let's just get into the video. So the game starts off with Naruto returning to the Leaf Village, but then Konko starts running after him just because he has a mission to do from the Sand Village, and that being telling Tsunade about these new puppet walkers that have been showing up. And in a nutshell, these things are called the puppet walkers, obviously, and they're run by the Shirogane clan, which basically want to get spirits from each of the villages to summon the master puppet. And also, these puppet walkers are immortal fighters that they can regenerate with a layer of chakra. And now they'll finally get back to the Leaf Village, and it's getting attacked. I don't know why the writers for Naruto always have the Leaf Village getting attacked. I think it's like a fish or something. I don't know. But, so they get to Leaf Village, and then Concord tells more about the Master Puppet, and then, we move on to the fourth chapter of the game. In this chapter, they actually find some stuff about the Spirito, where some bandits are blowing up the village. They go beat them up and see if they can get any information. Then, they give up because, they lost. And then we actually move on to chapter 2 because, chapter 1 isn't really that long. And then in this case, in chapter 2, we just try to lure out some bandits to capture the leader and get some info. But actually, before we move on to like the later on, actually, one thing that this game kind of does that's kind of interesting is like you can use your shadow clones to like investigate stuff to help you where to go and stuff. But it's not used all that much. I think it's only used in like about 2 or 3 chapters maximum. But I just want to put that out because I found that pretty cool. Now we move on to the third chapter. In this case, we go off with Shigemaru to look for the actual Spirito, and they also use the fake one on the boat just, to lure them out. And then, oh look, they meet up with a fake conqueror that's really a puppet, and then the real one shows up, and we go look on for the orb. But they fight a bunch of different puppets, but fail getting the orb, and the bandits probably found it by digging up some stuff. Then we move on to chapter 4, and we go into a fortress, and honestly, I actually really like this level. It's probably one of my favorites. And then we soon get to the orb, and, that's on like the top floor. And then Naruto is being a dumbass as usual, and he sends the orb flying with a Rasengan. Then eventually they get back to the Leaf Village, and then he gets bullied by Tsunade, of course, because, he basically ruined the chance they had. But then now we move on to chapter 5, and then him and Sakura go meet up with Rock Lee to free the bandits that you beat up. So, okay, whatever. And honestly, I actually also really like this level too, just probably because I get to use Lee, but whatever. Then we move on to basically the only female in the Shirogane clan, and she tries to blow up the place just because, she wants to kill you and the rest of the bandits, but, whatever. We eventually escape. And then we move on with Shikamaru and Naruto again to go to the Leaf Village to report. And now we're on chapter 6. And then the Leaf Village gets attacked again. And then I really don't know why the writers of Naruto always leave up the village getting attacked. What is up with you guys? Jesus, do you have a veg for this shit? Whatever, but eventually we basically stop the Leaf Village from getting destroyed again. Then we beat up the leader of the Shirogane clan, or at least his puppet, and then now we move on to chapter 7. And yeah, we're on chapter 7, kinda weird, huh? But basically in this one we get the Spirito back on our side, and then the female from the Shirogane clan tries to basically steal it by basically trying to break up a spell. but she obviously fails in that case because they break the barrier, defeat her puppet, and then she just leaves. And then now we actually move on to chapter 8. We're flying through the story pretty fast, huh? But in this case, we're going back to the Leaf Village. We run into a village that it's been overrun by puppets. I'm pretty sure this was just like a filler part. And then we actually make a deal with the Shirogane clan to basically give them the orb, or we'll launch an awful attack. Like we'll launch an attack, but obviously they actually get the orb, but it turns out the orb was a fake orb, so they can try to dupe them out, so you can actually study the actual spiel for a little bit longer. And now we move on to chapter 9. And in this case, we actually go meet up with Gawa at like a tower in one of the sand villages that has the spiel, and we meet up with Sakura, which also left a little bit before us. That she's just getting there now, but whatever. Then puppets start attacking the base of the tower, so Naruto goes down there, meets up with Conqueror, and then beats up all the puppets around the base. But then the tower starts like blowing up, and then we go up to see what the hell is happening, and it turns out that Sakura wasn't the real Sakura, it was the chick from the Shirogane clan in an attempt to try to steal the spill. And by the way, they also have cut Sakura captured, but she obviously succeeds in stealing the last spill. And then we go off back to the Leaf Village to tell Tsunai what happened. And now we go lead up into the final chapter. Yeah, this game's actually really short. But we find out the base of the Shirogane clan thanks to Sakura sending off a messenger board. So obviously we launch an all-out attack with the Sand and Leaf Village to obviously get Sakura back and destroy the Master Puppet. And may I add, I actually really like this chapter just because it's just a big full-out assault. You're rushing to the base, going down, finding out what the hell is happening, and just go out destroying everything. And I kind of like the final boss, that being the Master Puppet. It's kind of annoying, and honestly, the first time you play it, you're probably going to spend a little bit of time, and you are probably going to die just because a lot of his attacks really deal a lot of damage here at the start. But obviously, when you eventually kick the butt of the Master Puppet, and then you also dispose of the spill, so you never have to deal with them again, and the game's done. Roll credits, woo. And then yeah, I gotta say, I kind of like the story. It's fun, but the thing that kind of sucks, it's obviously really short. But now that the story recap is done, now I actually go into different aspects of the game that I loved and I hated. One of the bigger things I actually loved about this game was the added modes, and those mean the mission mode, the survival mode, and the 2-player battle mode. And in the case of the mission mode, you eventually get missions when you play through the game, and they're usually the same ones over and over again, but again, I'll get into that a little bit later. For survival mode, you basically just do a set of fights, against different stuff. Like, for example, you would do ones against bandits, once against the nature, once again against puppets, and then just different kinds of stuff in a certain time limit. And yeah, I really liked it. And then there's also the 2-player battle mode, which obviously it's kind of funny if you got a buddy, but I don't have footage of that just because I didn't get anyone to play with me, but whatever. But what kind of sucks is that there's only 13 characters in the entire game, and you don't really have much options to pick from. And in the case of mission mode, you can only use 11 characters once you unlock them all, which kind of sucks, honestly, but we'll just move past that. Another thing that's separate from gameplay that I actually really loved was the skill plates, and honestly, in this game they're a lot better. And this time every character has one, they have one portion of the skill plates, and you can upgrade the size of that skill plate with money that you get from whenever you defeat enemies, mission mode, and survival mode. And in this case, you won't have to get numerous other skill plates for one character and then having to change it all every single time. So this one makes it a little bit easier, and I love this one. Then there's also the item shop, and honestly I kind of like it better in this game just because in the first game you had to basically trade in different ninja weapons that you had to get items, but in this game it just makes it a lot easier just by using money you can get from the other modes, and it's just a lot easier and simpler in my opinion. And then there was actually one really small change to Naruto that they did where you can automatically do 4 shadow clones at the start and not having to use skill plates, so I found that kind of nice, and it takes up less space in its like skill plate, so that's kind of nice. But obviously, every game is without their flaws, and this kind of shows some of them with the first game, and it being really, really repetitive in the mission mode. Again, a lot of the missions are the same thing, where you defeat opponents, protect something, or find something with its own time limit. And honestly, that last type of mission really, really pisses me off. I think there was this one A rank mission where you had to go on a really big map and basically find 10 of these really small items, and trust me, as a kid, I absolutely failed this mission numerous times just because I couldn't find everything within the time limit. And yeah, they give you 10 minutes, and if you don't fight any of the enemies, you can probably defeat in like maybe like a couple of minutes. But I don't know, I just got really pissed at that mission. Obviously, there was like I think this mission gets repeated like at least 3 times, and at least in the other cases, some like there's one map that's kind of smaller, so it's easy to find stuff, and then the other map is like just really annoying where it's like because you have to find flowers, right? And then it's in a wildlife area, so it's doubly annoying. But those missions just really piss me off, and honestly, then it's not too fun for a while. But at least in some cases, you can get money kind of easier because in a lot of missions you can pick up to 3 characters to join you. But if you don't if you leave some slots open, you can gain a little bit extra money. And honestly, I kind of like that. But now let's move on to some of the other parts of the game that I didn't like. For example, this game is kind of grindy. Either it's for leveling up characters, buying the items, and just doing other stuff, But at least in this case, getting the items can be kind of easier just because, you gain money throughout, the mission mode, which can be, pretty easy. And survival mode actually is a really good source of money for like later on in the later modes. But leveling up the stats, that's really annoying because story mode is not a good place to level them up just because some characters you only use once, like for example Gawa, Choji, and my guy. Well, eventually you just have to use those guys in the mission mode, and then again, just because this game has like a stat for like everything where it's like Taiju to attack, defense, same thing with ninjutsu, and then you have them chakra, and every time you level it up, the amount of orbs you need also levels up, so it's just eventually just really grindy, and it's just really annoying in some cases. And that stuff is really all the stuff I have to complain about the game. And honestly, I would say it's a really decent sequel. It changes a lot of the bad stuff from the first game for the better. And honestly, I wish that there was a third game because they probably would make it really good and made it like shine. And honestly, it just a lot of the stuff is just really shortcomings that really could have been easily fixed with a third game. But honestly, other than that, really decent game. And thanks to everyone for watching, and see you guys later. And then sometime in the future, I'll start doing the 2D fighter games on the PS2. I don't know, but we will see later. See you guys later.